Hey guys, Green Corsair here with my new build for the Legacy of Phrecia event in Path of Exile 1. It will probably be a White Wind, Wildspeaker, Flicker Striker. I know this is a very original concept, a Wildspeaker, Flicker Strike. Probably most streamers have done one. I know Magefist has done one, but he went for the for the deck stacking, and I'm going with another route with the White Wind. Um, a White Wind, of course, a dagger that gives me a bunch of cold damage, attack speed, and a good amount of evasion, and spell suppress and increased cold damage if my offhand is empty. As you can see, my offhand here is empty in the POB. So it's a dagger I have played around with before. A few years ago, I played the regular Flicker Striker with the White Wind, and it went very well. But that was a few years ago, and by now we don't even have a Raider Ascendancy. So, but it looks great with the Wildspeaker Ascendancy because of the aspect of the cat nodes. The first one, Flash of Teeth, gives you a free level 30 aspect of the cat that gives you a rotating buff from attack speed to crit chance. But the most powerful node is the next one, Fearful Symmetry, that gives you gain up to your maximum number of frenzy and power charges when you gain cat stealth. So we basically stack a bunch of frenzy charges, and in this rotating buff, from time to time fills our frenzy charges up, so we can sustain Flicker Strike basically infinitely. It also gives us power charges, which is a nice bonus. The other cool thing about this Ascendancy is the Primal Instinct, which is obviously a node that works great with acrobatics. And also our dagger gives us a bunch of spell suppress, so it kind of fills the acrobatics alone. So let's look at the tree. The tree basically goes to the range of starting nodes are kind of mid, so I skip them. These nodes here are good if you want to take them while living, they are great. These ones here give me a ton of DPS. You can see my DPS goes from 10 million to like 11. It gives me like 1 million DPS. So maybe I will consider taking them later. Maybe instead of this random jewel socket that gives me my Ascendancy. So yeah, about the DPS, it's 10 million here, but that is a very optimized version of the build. It has like this helm and like corrupted things, like a +1 frenzy, Admiral's Arrogance, and this talisman, and kind of good stuff all around. It's not too optimized, of course. You can always go like Precursor Emblem with +1 frenzy and cold damage per frenzy, and then cold damage as extra chaos per frenzy, and then it goes bonkers. Yeah. And this is, by the way, not even with flicked cat stealth and cat's agility, and with uh, with like Admiral's Arrogance, you can even sustain Berserk quite a bit. Oh shit, that is flicked. Oh shit, unlucky. Yeah, so yeah, Berserk is clicked. I will avoid clicking Berserk though. So yeah, the let's switch these to kind of a more normal rings. Don't look at the resist; they're kind of fake. I just like getting the effective hit pool filled without worrying about resists. We have all these rare slots that will fix our resists in the future. So yeah, about the tree, we go for the cold damage nodes here. because cold masteries are OP. The enemies near you, near targets you shatter, have 20% chance to be covered in frost. Um, that means I will probably run a worms mode, worm jar, whatever that flask with the worms is called, to shatter the worms and cover bosses in frost. Of course, Druidic Rite is OP for the flask duration, some life, and increased life because uh, the Bronze Light has no life mod on it. Of course, Bronze Light is hard to find 6 linked, so you can go through most of the game with a rare chest, of course. It's still plenty DPS to go around. Yeah, so the blind crit and then some onslaught and Val Pact. You can see here that our life leech and on hit rate is basically our full life. So yeah, it's not dying is what I'm trying to say. If we don't get one shot, we're not dying with this build. Um, Another code master here for the code exposure, which also synergizes well with this node here, which says exposure we inflict applies at least minus 18 to the affected resistance. And with the not dying part, we also take Wind Dancer here. And acrobatics, as I said, it works great with the Ascendancy. So let's finish this side here. We get another Frenzy Charge, some crit, and I decided that this Rage Wheel is worth it. Although I'm not very sure, I will have to test it. It's a way better Rage Wheel than this one for the armor, because armor is not something we scale or need a lot of, but it might be useful. And yeah, we also get the melee strikes deal splash damage and target one additional enemy, of course for the free splash on Flicker Strike. On the top side we have another Frenzy Charge, another Power Charge, and we have the 2 dagger clusters with critical strikes have Culling Strike, and Elusive gives us 40 more crit multi. We have here 623. Of course, Nightblade being one of the most OP supports for any skill in the game. So we use that. And yeah, these are the supports that POB tells me are the best. I don't disagree. Ice Bite, of course, because we have, I think, 10 Frenzy Charges with this Corrupt here. So, yeah, we have like 3 baseline, 3 from the tree, 1 from the Ascendancy, 1 from Darkrai Victors, maybe 9 with this one here. Yeah. So, Aspect of the Cut, of course, is free. Precision gives us the accuracy and the crit chance. It's great. Hero Device gives us flat cold damage, which is great because the White Wind gives us 200% increased cold damage. And the Admiral's Arrogance with all the rage gives us more multiplier, a nice more multiplier. Skitterbots, of course, for the shock. And I was, because the chill is obviously useless, I was thinking about the Profane Proxy, which is not a bad ring here. If while leveling, of course, it's great. But then when you get something with like flat cold and cold per frenzy, you should probably switch to it. A decent ring. Something else dies golem, it's fine, whatever golem you take. Don't take the stone golem obviously, because it doesn't work with the Vow Pact. Anything else I should mention? is we scale a ton from penetration. We need any penetration we can get, of course, with the frostbite. And I don't know why this thing doesn't have cold pen. Maybe it's not worth it in there. But yeah, as you can see, we have a bunch of life, um, a, enough mana to sustain, a bunch of evasion, I think quite enough evasion, and basically max spell dodge. Um, it will be maxed in the real build, of course. We have a bunch of murder sites with double added cold damage, which is what you should try to get. And I have given them Chaos Rest because I was not feeling like optimizing my resist on the gear. Um, Something else I want to talk about the DPS. It's quite a bit here, but that is obviously an optimized version. In my unoptimized version, which I do not have at hand now, it was around 3.5 million. And then with every optimization, you basically get a few million DPS until you reach like the 16 million we saw before. Of course, with the Berserk, you can get a bunch of DPS and stuff like that. So, yeah, let's see the configuration. I guess we have one slot from that node on the tree. We have Elusive, of course, for a bunch more chance to avoid damage. Uh, with For the tankiness, of course, if the build turns out squishy, we can always slap on a Kintsugi. It's less damage, of course, but it's more tankiness. So, yeah, pick your poison, basically. Um, Bronze Light for the the big POB DPS, I guess. Um, this thing doesn't work because they count as always covered in frost because of the mastery. So yeah, this is maybe 20% more damage inflated than it should be. Intimidate from the rage mastery and exposed to cold from the cold mastery. Enemy is chilled, but I have not specified an effect of chill uh, because I was playing around with the heat shiver, which is also a valid way to play it honestly, and it might be the better way, the better helm, but they are quite a bunch of uniques, and you will struggle with the elemental resistances. So I decided to not play with the heat shiver because I don't enjoy it. I like having the pure cold feeling of DPS. And yeah, that is basically it. The enemy is blinded for less accuracy, of course, so you can have more chance to evade. Don't know if this is counted in this instance here, but in game it will definitely count for something. So yeah, that is it. I think this will be a great league starter. It starts with budget uniques. You can do basically, uh, you will probably be able to do it, all content with it. Uh, that is a speculation, of course. It is still a Flicker Strike build. It will probably die to some bullshit it needs to dodge, but it won't. Or to RNG with the actual dodge chance and the evade chance. It might die, it might not. I will try it for sure. So yeah, I will probably make an update video to see how it's going. I will sadly be starting the league late. I will start it tomorrow, but then I will be gone from my PC for a few days. So it will be quite a while until I get to a decent place with this build. But yeah, if you want to see an update video on how it's going, write a comment, I guess. That is what professional YouTubers say. Yeah.